And then having a sense that you've arrived, please join your hands together in Anjali Mudra. And this morning we'll chant Asatoma Satgamaya. Let's begin. Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namah Hari Om. And then you may bow your head to your heart. Release your hands and open your eyes. So the models of the Vayus, the Gunas, the Koshas, the Chakras, all these models come from yoga, looking at the subtle body. But we can also apply it to the non-subtle aspects of our life. For example, this particular time of year where the Kapha season, the earth and water season, has become the Pitta season, the water and fire season, a lot of us will start feeling ungrounded and more pulled to the external, like towards the wilds, towards nature, towards being outside, getting things done, hiking, biking, all the things that we love to do. And we may get pulled into that and then actually feel really alive and really vital, but in some ways ungrounded. And the feeling of being ungrounded, we call that in the Apana Vayu, we don't have enough of the downward rooting presence. Apana Vayu is for elimination. And that elimination is the obvious, like from the bladder and the bowels, but it's also eliminating what I call the garbage disposal of the mind. Yesterday we were practicing in this way, and some of the students that I spoke to after class, they had this realization how deeply tired they are. And that can be a tired that we have brought with us from years, or from the winter season only, or from the last year of COVID-19, the pandemic. It could be that we were extremely busy in the month of April or May, and we arrive for our yoga practice and we reset this kind of Apana Vayu, and you realize, whoa, I'm so deeply tired. That would be a sign that you may have been running a bit on empty, or running on adrenaline, or running on samskaras, the patterns that keep us pressured from the inside. So we start the practice today with Apana Vayu to get this elimination principle more supported. And that will increase the guna in your body called tamas. Tamas is the guna where you feel more stable, more still, more rooted, more inert. So the liability of staying in the tamas guna is that you perpetuate things that go from stable to apathy to lethargy. You go from inert to inertia, being like unable to move. So we don't want to be in tamas so deeply that you feel like you're just like dorsal vagaling on your life and the world's going by. But we don't want to be in this rajas of activity, 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 where we feel like life is overwhelming and overstimulating. So We want this healthy seat for the tamas guna, and then this healthy expression of rajas, how we then direct our attention to rise. In yoga, since you're here to practice yoga, how do we rise to compassion, clarity, vision, and consciousness? How do we do that? So we aren't in the frenzy, we're in the pathway. So we're going to begin this morning with Supta Padangustasana, and I'd like you to have for this practice a couple of blocks and your yoga strap. And let me get my strap, which is a short distance from here. So with the yoga strap, you can make whatever suitable size loop is yours. You might not know what that is until you come down to the pose. So please lie on your back, your knees bent, place your feet flat on the floor. Reach for one block to put to each side of your mat. Let's take the right foot up in the strap, please. And when you put the right foot up in the strap, go ahead and snug the strap to then be the right size for your foot and your hand. So when you get your foot in there, put it across the mounds of the toes, please. And then lengthen your left leg out on the floor. Now, once again, just for this first part of class, I want you to focus your mind down on the things that connect you to the ground. And so let's go by noticing first the most distant sensation, the back of the left heel, the back of your calf. If your hamstring is touching, notice the back of your hamstring and the back of your left hip. And the back of the sacrum. And breathing into those sensations, your breath again can be an ambassador between your body and your mind. So your mind knows where you are here in the present, and you're not disembodied, as it were. And keep your mind and your left leg deeply grounded, and place the yoga block at the outside of your right hip, really close to your hip, like right up against the outer hip bone. And without your mind or your left leg becoming ungrounded, just begin to drift the right leg open to your right. Now, as the right leg opens to the right, the block should feel like it's actually blocking you. It's an obstacle, but a support at the same time, so that your pelvis is not inclined to tip over to the right. It's not tempted to tip. You may also notice that the upper inner right thigh gets a little bit more highlighted because of the block. So continue breathing into the sensations from your left heel to your sacrum, so that any part of your mind that is inclined to be like critical or evaluative or pressuring your right inner thigh, any part of the mind that's inclined to a less than helpful attitude, it's being grounded by your focus to breathe into your left heel, left calf, left hamstring, left hip. So we're kind of minimizing the mayhem or the distractibility of the mind, and then leaving space for your intuition to come forward, where you can really sense how can you best care for your right leg right now. And then as your next inhale, start raising your right leg up, and notice if the left leg becomes more grounded, is it possible that you had tipped a little bit over? Reach up with your left hand into the strap, trade it for your right hand. Open your right arm out to the side, raise your right hip up off the floor, and come over just about halfway into your capacity. Root the outside of your left foot, the outside of your left heel, your outer left calf, your outer left thigh, outer left hip, and trace that up now from your outer left hip on the diagonal to your right shoulder, into your right arm and your right hand. And keeping those places of contact, now as you next exhale, use your right low belly, right outer hip to bring your right leg back up to center. Release the strap and take your right knee, please, with both hands, and glide your right knee in towards your chest and your heart. This pose is actually called Apanasana. So when you inhale, I'm going to ask you to lengthen your left leg, be enthusiastic about that on the floor. And as you exhale, curl your head up towards your right knee. And inhale, roll your head, chest, and shoulders back down. Ground the left leg, left heel. Exhale to curl back up. Inhale to roll down. And exhale to curl up. And inhale to glide down. Okay, now release your right leg out on the floor next to your left leg and just spend the next few moments really noticing, how are the two legs feeling different? What are the sensations that go down from your pelvis through your right hip to your right heel? Send the mind downstream with the sensations from your hips to your heel. Now bend your left knee and take your yoga strap for your left foot. Place your left foot in. Go ahead and place the block so it's at the ready actually. And then place your left hand and foot in the strap together. So the block goes to the outside of your left thigh on the other side. Open your right arm. And let's breathe into the sensations at the back of the right heel, right calf, right hamstring, right hip. Learning to focus your mind is like turning the aperture on the camera or on the microscope in the laboratory. It's a really essential skill that we can focus the mind, and yes, to the exclusion of other things. So what you're putting your focus on right now is not the past nor the future, not your to-do list, not an unfinished conversation, but right here in the present. So your mind is not right now shopping for other busyness. It's not right now accumulating in the mayhem of the mind. And giving yourself the gift of that kind of focus and grounding with the right leg. Just begin to open your left leg slowly out to the left. Only so far as your right hip does not become ungrounded. And though there may be very interesting and even intriguing sensations on the left leg, keep your mind chatter, your thought factory focused in your right heel, right calf, right hamstring, right hip. When the mind chatter has a place to be focused, your intuition can come through. You can sense the intelligence of your body and respond with it. So you'll actually be much less likely to push in your yoga pose or to strive or to go past your healthful end range. So keeping your right leg grounded. When you next inhale, start to glide your left leg up. Slowly bring it back up to the center. Reach up with your right hand into your strap. Pick up your left hip and come about halfway into your capacity. Now, halfway is going to require you to be more centered, like a little bit more restrained. And so halfway may not be your preference, but it's going to encourage more mental concentration as well. So halfway, place your mind into your outer right foot, outer right heel, outer calf, outer thigh, your outer right hip. And up on the diagonal to your left shoulder blade, left shoulder, your left arm, your left hand. Now with an exhale breath, we're going to be returning up to center. So inhale smoothly, and then follow your exhale to come up and up and up. Yeah. And then release the strap from your left foot. Place both hands behind your left knee. Breathe down through your right leg. And exhale to curl up. Inhale to roll down. Exhale to curl up. Inhale, glide down. Let your mind be immersed inside the breath and the body moving together, so that your breath again is like an ambassador for the mind to come into the body. Let's do one more time, please. And then exhale, touch your left foot back down to the floor and glide your left leg out on the floor next to your right leg. And notice again the sensations. Put your mind into those very sensations. Left hip, left leg, left foot. This is the garbage disposal of the mind. Now reach for both of the blocks, put them on the flat setting, and you're going to make them like a little bit of a triangle like this. And that's going to go under the back of the pelvis. So please bend both knees. Make sure you're strapped and no other obstacles are in the way. Pick up your hips and put the blocks so that they're right at the outer edge of your sacrum. That means when you pick up your thighs and shins and knees, you can feel the blocks on the shape like a triangle just on the outside of the sacrum. There you are. And see if you can find a place where your thighs rest somewhat comfortably and vertically here. And the sacrum is dropping between the two blocks. And then exhale and glide your knees towards your chest, using the exhale breath to squeeze your knees towards their own shoulders. Do not push the chin up, please. And then inhale, glide your knees away from your chest. Maybe the toes even push out a little bit like you're on a swing set. And then exhale and glide the knees in to the chest. Now, if the blocks feel like they're moving, you could put your fingers to the outsides of the blocks, but otherwise they should be pretty stable. So we inhale. This is a little bit like kicking out on a swing set. And then exhale, curl your knees in. At the deepest curl, the lumbar spine is going to be more broad. And inhale, the knees go out. Now, when you're exhaling and squeezing the knees in, try to come as deeply in as your lower abdominal muscles can support you with, without ejecting the chin. So that each time you come in with the exhale, you actually are deliberately squeezing the low belly in a, let's say, delicious or enthusiastic way. We'll do this 3 times more. Now, when the legs are going out, it's not causing your pelvis to rock wildly into a back bend. So even as you take the knees and the feet out, as when on the swing set, you're hopefully keeping some tone in the low belly. And the next time that you're passing into the center spot of the action, pause right there. So the shins might be parallel to the floor, the thighs can be perpendicular to the floor, and you're resting right there between the 2 blocks. Take your right arm out to the side, put the knees together like a unit, and pick up your right hip. So you're just going to roll to the outer left hip, and there's like a little spot right there next to the sacrum and the trochanter where the block is going to be like a massage tool. So what I'm doing is rocking left and a little bit center and a little bit left and a little bit center. I don't want the corner of the block to be poking into your hips, so you should be somewhere in the center of that beveled edge of the block. And notice when you do this action, what role the lower belly is playing right now. And go one more time to your left. Maybe a little bit further than you've been going. Just check in and see. And then roll up to center. Now here's an interesting spot. You're going to be laying the right hip back onto the block really gently. Touch it down. Bring the knees to center. Open your left arm and pick up your left outer hip and come over. And so you are on that. I mean, for me, it's like a massage. I hope it is for you too. You're rolling on the juicy bits there between the sacrum and the greater trochanter. If you can keep the knees together so that the legs and pelvis are like one unit, that's going to likely be better for the stability that you need in the sacrum and the pelvis right now. And you might be rolling across some tender spots, which I totally understand. If somebody needs to pad the blocks more, you could wear your bicycle shorts. Actually, that won't help. You could make new shorts. That might help. Put the padding at the outer hips. But better than that, you could put a yoga mat over the block. Now let's go one more time to the right and just see what's appropriate to keep your left shoulder on the floor. How far do the knees and shins want to come? And then roll that up to center and be thoughtful as to how you're going to place your left hip back onto its block. And then let's touch the feet to the floor. Put the soles of the feet together. Take the knees out to the side. Now your sacrum is still floating. We have not put the hips down on the floor just yet. So when you put the knees out to the side, you might feel in the inguinal groove, this kind of Bermuda Triangle of no man's land in there. You might feel the inner groin, the upper inner thighs, the inguinal groove. Let the breath come down into this region, please. Relax the sacrum, lower, middle, and upper parts of the sacrum. See if you can release the lumbar spine, the inner belly. And then roll your knees and thighs up to center. Press into your heels, remove the blocks, and come down onto your sacrum. And pause and notice, where does your mind go now? I know that you guys can't hear this at the moment because the microphone's too far away, but one of my kittens is snoring. They're both getting good rest. Okay, please come up to kneeling with your hips so that your right hip is to the right and the left foot and left knee and right foot are together like this. This is called the Z formation. Right now, you don't need to have anything under your hips unless you feel like you're going to fall over to your right. Then put a blanket under your right hip. Just a second here. I'm waiting for a haircut. Okay. All right, so when you sit like this, we call this Z formation. Tuck the left toes back here on the left, and the right leg is kind of like in pigeon pose. Walk your left hand to the outside of your right knee, right hand behind you, and turn the lower belly across your lap. And let's drop the breath down and down into the low region of the abdomen, like especially the right hemisphere of the belly. And as you're swooshing your belly to the right, keep the bones of your right hip grounded, and imagine you're going to take the inner belly on the right side and move it through the interior of the hip bone. A little bit like if you had a wooden bowl and you're making bread dough in there, how you sense the bread dough touches the inner edge of the bowl. I'd like you to swoosh the inner belly to the right. Now let's put the right palm flat.
Sarahjoy, I think you lost sound. Sarahjoy.
Hi everyone. I don't know where that went for my Wi-Fi, so now I'm going to hotspot from my phone. Okay, so let's come back to the Z twist where we just were. I don't know when we lost each other because I don't look constantly at the screen. So we had twisted like this, and then we were opening this way. So now where I would like us to go next is to press the right shin down, the left shin down, and you're going to raise up. Okay, so the right shin really grounded, left shin really grounded. Press the left hip forward into your left hip flexors here. If for any reason you feel like your right arm is too short behind you, put your right hand on a block. So breathe into your left outer hip, left inner belly, even the left groin. And then we're going to exhale and come down, returning to the twist. So place your right hip firmly on the floor, walk the left hand out, swish your low belly to the right. And then please come back to center and take the left ankle and come to Sukhasana. And just notice for a few moments, like there's a zigzag in the body, quite likely, a zigzag of energy. And keeping the mind down in the pelvis, in the pelvic basin, take your right leg to Virasana, the left leg in Z formation, like this. If you feel like you're falling over to the left, if you can't sit upright, put a blanket under your left hip, please. Place your right hand across your left thigh, left hand out to the side, and let's swish the low belly to the left. And in that swishing, you do start with your right hip on the floor, so it doesn't come up right away. So in the swishing, try to lift the inner left belly to the left. Feel into those sensations so your breath, once again, is an ambassador for your mind to stay in your body, right now in your pelvis. And then place your left palm flat. The left arm becomes more powerful. Start gliding your torso out over your left thigh. The right hip is going to raise up a little bit. Walk your right hand forward, maybe in line with your left hand. Start giving an effort towards toning your right butt. So the right hip is pushing forward into the hip flexors a little bit right now. And then press firmly into your left hand. Now start rotating across your lower belly, across your lap. Rotate, rotate, open, roll the left shoulder back as you open the chest and heart. And then really important, press down into your left shin and your right shin and come up as you side bend to your left. So make the shins both very strong against the floor. You can press into your right knee so long as that's comfortable for the knee joint. And find your right hip flexors. They are there. Yes. And then start rolling down to the twist, to return to the twist. So as your left hip is coming down, walk your right hand out in line with your left hand to return to the twist where you were. And then rotate back to Sukhasana. Bring your right ankle out in front and sit in Sukhasana, which is a ankle cross position. Rest your wrists over your knees and notice now, okay, where is the vitality of the body? Can you send your mind down into the garbage disposal to release whatever is ready to go? Compost, garbage disposal, whatever you want to think of it as. Okay, let's come back to the Z formation. So your left foot is going to be on the left side, right foot again. And once more, if you need, for any reason, to have a blanket under your hip, please do so. Otherwise, this time come forward over your right leg. And as you're able to, cross your left forearm on the floor in front of your right shin. Take your right hand to the floor nearby and twist your lower belly to the right. And breathe into your right hip, and anything making contact with the ground that helps you to know, where are you just now, just here in the present. And then press into your left palm, come upright. Let's take the right shin now and open it out. This is called the box position because now you're making a box shape right here. So that's why it's called the box position. And come forward so the right fingertips can stay to the right. Reach forward out over your right leg. And take the mind down and down into the right low belly and your right hip. And glide your left hand back towards your right ankle. Take the left hand across your right knee, right hand behind you, and twist again to your right. And as you're turning around the belly, let the left hip come up this time. So the left hip is going to press forward into the left hip flexors on the front of your thigh. Place your right palm firmly on the floor now and walk the left hand out in line with the right hand. Okay, and now once more, we're going to open to a twist. So press your right palm down, roll the right shoulder back, turn your low belly to your left, turn the chest and heart to your left, right shoulder stays back, open the left arm. And then raise your left arm past your left ear like this. And now you're going to press into the left shin and the right leg. And roll that open, bring the right leg back down and come forward once more to the box position. And bring this into yesterday's Omega pose. So Omega pose means the feet are farther out than a regular Baddha Konasana. Open the toes and come forward. Now notice which side of the body, which leg allows you to come forward more easily. And then inhale, rise up to sitting. Okay, let's change sides. So bring your right foot around to the Virasana. The left foot starts in Z formation like this. And we're going to walk forward. So you might be able to bring your elbows down to the floor. Let the left hip drop back and down as you're breathing into the left low belly. So we're doing a kind of like an excavation of the Apana Vayu, the region of the pelvis and the pelvic basin. That's why we're including these twisting moves. So let's put the right forearm across the mat like this and take your left fingertips to the floor. Swish your inner belly to your left. You can picture the inner belly really moving to the left as if the belly button were going to go over and say hi to the inner thigh. And keeping the breath as your ambassador. Now walk forward again by putting first the left foot into the box position and then walk the right hand forward again out over your box pose. You can use the strength of the left arm a little bit like a cantilever so you're not tipping over to your left. It's quite likely that your right sitting bone is not touching the floor, but you should not feel like you're just falling into your left hip. If that is the case, please put a blanket under your hip. You might notice the left lower back or the outside of the sacrum or the pelvis on the left side. Let's keep our awareness in the inner belly and the pelvis as you glide up. Now we're going to move over to the twist. So place your right hand on the outside of your left knee. Walk your left hand behind you. And as you turn the belly across to your left, think of the belly button now having like a little adventure. It's coming up over the left thigh and it's going to peek out at the corner of your room. Let's make the left palm flat and walk your right hand out, please. And then press firmly into your left hand. Start rolling your inner belly to the right, keeping your attention downward and inward. Roll the left shoulder back, so here, and open to your right. Press into your right shin and your left outer foot. Take the right arm past your ear. Can you raise the shin, the butt up here with the support of your right shin and your left arm? When the left leg goes forward, the support is only at the outer edge of your foot. So you have to use the strength of the pelvis to come up. And then exhale and glide it back to the box position. Reach up and one more time, come forward. And then into your omega pose. Bring the right heel around. Hold the fingers over the toes. First, we're going to pull up. So this is farther forward than you would use for Baddha Konasana. Open the feet, the heels are touching. And then exhale to come forward and down. Now, one of the things that happens when Apanavayu is working well is that we also do become more exuberant, more vital. Our vitality is freed up. When Samanavayu, which digests your food, sends that down to Apanavayu in a healthful manner, your vitality is getting cleaned out. So now roll back onto your sitting bones, hold your big toes. The heels can touch. So you're balancing on your sitting bones. And then, yes, reach up and out. You can do the heel or you can do the toes. You can make the arms straight. Lift up through the chest and the heart. The corners of the mouth can go up. Okay, and then bend the knees. Place the feet back down into your omega position and come forward one more time. Now fold the knees up to center. Place your feet out in front of you so that they are hip distance apart and parallel. Take your hands behind you on the floor so the fingertips are pointing down. And then they point forward towards your hips. Then you've got your knuckles and then the heels of the hands. Roll the shoulders back strongly. So from the side, that looks like this. The hands are pointing backwards that way. Roll the shoulders back, press into both heels, and then go up. This is called reverse table pose. And then exhale, lower your hips down. Okay, rise up through your torso, turn your right hand around so the fingers point backwards. Raise your left arm up and hook your left arm over your right knee. So you're going to twist your belly to the right. So now we're coming into Samana Vayu more obviously. As you're twisting to the right, rotate the solar plexus to your right. Keep your left hip grounded. Breathe smoothly. So the breath again is an ambassador of your mind staying grounded. So the thinking part of your mind, the analytic part of your mind, really like the left brain is having a holiday of just noticing your feet and your hips on the ground. Now place the right palm firmly on the floor. Your fingers can point backwards. Raise the left arm up towards the ceiling. Push into both heels. Raise your hips. Keeping the right arm vertical and your shoulder directly over your wrist is important. Beautiful. And now keeping the right shoulder vertical, you're going to lower the hips down slowly. This is still yoga. So come down slow, up to your fingers and twist. And then rotate around to center. We're going to do the other side. I will reverse so that I can keep seeing you. So now you're going to take the left fingertips behind you, raise your right arm up, cross over. And as you are twisting in the belly, think of the solar plexus and the stomach. So now you're getting the, how shall I say, like when you're washing the dishes and you've got the scrubby sponge inside the glass that had some stuff that got stuck on it, you're turning the belly like that. So allow the breath to come in and to go out smoothly. Now place the left palm flat down, roll the left shoulder back so it stays and the back behind the collarbone. It's helpful if you don't put your left hand too far back to the left behind you. It's kind of in line with your left sitting bone. Press down into both feet. Raise your hips. Keep the left shoulder over the left wrist like this and sweep your right arm past your ear. Keep the breath moving. For those of you in the training, this pose, when we come down, you'll notice that Dhyana Vayu also got activated there because of what you do with the circulation of the arms. Come back to the seat of the twist, up to your fingertips. And then rotate around to face towards your knees. Arms forward. Okay, and then roll down, please. Take the arms in a T shape, bring the knees up to the chest. Okay, with the knees coming up towards the chest and the heart, this is similar to earlier when we had the knees going forward and then back into the chest. Squeeze the knees towards the chest using your deep low belly. Raise your arms overhead past your ears. And continue to breathe even though you're using the abdomen right now. And then exhale and lay your arms back down alongside your torso. Place your feet flat on the floor. So here in this position, we're going to be using an inhale for the arms to go up overhead and the exhale for the arms to come back down. And we'll also be raising the hips at the same time. So this is a coordinated movement and it looks like this. Here's the inhale. This is about my first third.
the middle third of the breath, and the upper third of the breath. And on the exhale, same idea that you're exhaling from the lower third of the torso, middle third, upper third. So on the exhale, when you're going down, it's like the arms and the breath are passing each other like this, because the exhale is going from the bottom upwards and outwards this way. Okay, so please place your palms flat on the floor. Find your heels. Come into your toes. So all the Vayus are here, and this is a special focus for Vyana Vayu and Udana Vayu. That is the heart Vayu and the throat Vayu. So let's begin. Inhale, Ujjayi. Try to raise your arms and your hips at the pace of the breath, so the hips are not at the high point before the end of the inhale. And as you're lowering, same thing. You're with the pace of the exhale, even though the arms and the hips move different distances. Synchronize, please. You're giving yourself a whole body therapy treatment right now. So don't squander the opportunity by thinking or by randomly going back to the ceiling fan of the mind. Do your very best to stay synchronized with your breath and your body. You'll have to notice when the mind wanders, but also notice how you bring it back. Let's do one more cycle through, please. And pause and let the arms rest, palms face up. So you're giving yourself a whole body therapy treatment. I'd like you now to have 2 blocks. Some of you will want to have 3 blocks. That'll be the case if you've got longer arms. You can remove any hair clips that are in the way. And take 1 block on the medium setting right behind your head, like this. And the other block, you're going to reach past the first block so that you have 2 straight arms. And the fingers can curl around the second block. So this is a simulation like a headstand, except that we're not weight bearing on the head. A couple things that are important. One is that you really feel you've got the reach of the arms to the best of your ability. You've got some pressure on the crown of your skull into which you are pressing back. The top of the head is pressing, not being compressed. The lumbar spine can be touching the floor, but need not be rigidly touching the floor. Now with the outer structure of your body sustaining this pose, see how smoothly can you breathe right now. So we want just enough tone in the abdomen for the lumbar spine not to be arching wildly up off the floor, but not so much tone in the abdomen that you're blocking the breath. So play with that sort of graceful and delicate dance. We want a firmness from the crown of the skull into the blocks and from the blocks back into the crown of your skull. And though the arms are being stretched, there's also a sense of just gently sliding the shoulder blades a short ways down the upper back. That action should not feel like it's causing you to arch your upper back, just that you have a sense of security where the base of the shoulder blades are. And from there, you can actively press through the upper palate and the crown of your skull. And as you next exhale, release your arms. We go to this kind of cactus pose like this. So cactus, also called goalpost pose. And then reach for one of your blankets to put over your eyes. We call this pratyahara. We go like this. Cover the eyes and the ears. And come to Shavasana. So we have time this morning for meditation and chanting practice. So come down into Shavasana, please. Just to be a little bit warned, sometimes during Shavasana, my kittens get really excited that I'm doing Shavasana and they begin purring loudly. At other times, they are purring, chirping, or snoring. And sometimes they're just totally quiet, so you may not hear them at all. Take your mind, your thinking mind, and place it back down in the lowest part of the pelvis, in the lower dantian. Allow your body to rest and to receive all of the practices you were doing. And the mind is being recalibrated by your body right now doing all the housekeeping chores that your practice stimulated. So your job is simply to rest and to allow. your body to get heavy with the feeling of relaxation. All the pathways and the nadis and meridians that you have been addressing, may the energy flow clearly through those pathways now. Allow your body to stay really grounded. All the places of contact with the ground, those are places where your mind can take refuge. Welcome the mind to stay in all the contact points between you and the ground beneath you, even as you're watching the energy patterns in the body. May they flow smoothly, clearly. Keeping all of your senses at ease, the body deeply relaxed, you can thoughtfully reach up and slowly remove the blanket from your eyes. The amount of light that comes into the lids may seem quite strong, so please do that slowly. And wiggle the toes, wiggle your fingers, bend your knees. Roll to your side. Come up to your seat. Please take a seat you can use for a pranayama and a chanting practice that will help us with our meditation. You were snoring. Yeah. Okay, so in this first pranayama practice, we're going to do Nadi Shodhana, which means alternate nostril breathing. So take the right hand and put the first two fingers in like this. We'll be opening and closing one side of the nose at a time. The left hand you can put out in your lap if you want to, something like this, or palm face down. So sitting upright, we don't use Ujjayi breathing here, we just use the simple breath. So bring the thumb and the ring finger into position, please. Inhale through both nostrils, and then exhale through both nostrils. Close the right side, inhale left. Close the left, exhale right. Inhale right side. Close the right, exhale left. And that is considered one round of Nadi Shodhana. I'd like you to continue at your own pace for your inhale and your exhale, please. You may complete with your next exhale through the left nostril. And then just come down to a simple seat with your hands where you prefer them to be.
If it feels natural to do so, you can rest your attention between the eyebrows up at the 6th chakra. Now we're going to chant the sound of Om, which includes 3 syllables and silence. So there's 4 parts to the breath. A, U, M, silence. And all 4 parts are expressed equally in the chant. So place your hands together at your heart like this. The A sound will be in the heart. The U sound is in the throat. The M sound is in the upper palate. And the silence is up in the 6th chakra and beyond. So when you chant this Om sound, you can listen to mine first. You're trying to have the length of A, U, M, and silence all be equal to each other. Something like this. In the silence, the exhale is continuing. So that exhale then goes to a little exhale pause, then you'll inhale fully and we'll begin it again. You may not be in my rhythm, and that's okay, you can be in your own rhythm, but try to have it be ah, ooh, silence, still exhaling there. Let's do the first one together. Please breathe in. When you complete that, you can rest your hands in your lap. And it may again feel natural to rest your attention between the eyebrows at the 6th chakra.
Meditation is one of the most powerful practices we have. Having cleared the garbage disposal in Apana Vayu, let yourself stay present in this meditation time. Rest your attention on the space in the sixth chakra, perhaps listening for that which is not thought nor rumination, neither planning nor reviewing. Even if the sky of the mind has some birds passing through, keep your attention on the sky. No trouble if a pattern of birds crosses through that sky. Please raise your hands to your heart.
Giving thanks for our teachers and our teachers' teachers. That the teachings of yoga are available and we can have a self yoga therapy treatment. Also giving thanks to our community that we get to gather together in this way. We are uplifted by each other's practice together, this camaraderie, this sense that we aren't doing it alone. May the ambiance of your practice flow out in some way to benefit others today. May the merits of our practice be available to the greater good, to the greater whole. Thank you everyone for being here. Namaste.